Fastest we've ever gone is 266 miles an hour at the Mojave Magnum. Our race pack told us that we're actually going 15 mile an hour faster than that, and that's because the tires were spinning that fast.
Hey everybody, Joe Costello out in the pits at the Summit Racing Equipment NHRA Nationals, where there is a historic car in the Summit booth. Big red Camaro. This is R.J. Gottlieb with a historic piece of automotive history here. I love this car. Explain why this car is so famous.
This car is a project car me and my dad did in the late 80s. Originally it was in the La Pura Classic down in Mexico, and we put 200 miles an hour.
Well, tell us what that is. You know, we got a bunch of drag racers out there, and we love drag racing, but we love all cars, and we know that there's a lot of different things going on. That was a big race. Explain it.
It's a rally race that has a lot of history to it, and it was just something that they don't typically do here in the States, and it was something that, you know, I was a young kid at the time, and my dad wanted to get going in racing, and so we actually built this car for that race. This car was supposed to be a little bit of what's called a sleeper, where the outside of the car looks like a stock 69 Camaro, but underneath it's a full race car. And this, in fact, does have a full two chassis race car. And this car inspired a lot of other guys that eventually started what's known as Pro Touring today. And they all say that they were inspired by this car, and that's why we say this is Pro Touring #1.
This is the first Pro Touring car that made it onto the scene. That's an amazing stat. Pro Touring has become so popular out there. It's a great look. I, as a drag racer, love the Pro Touring look. Can you show us under the hood?
Absolutely.
Let's go, let's go.
One thing you'll notice that the engine is quite set back, about 8 inches. That was originally done for handling, so it's much better weight distribution, and also be able to fit, as is actually a large block engine, 355. Later on, we wanted to start doing other things, like going a lot faster and like competing at like Bonneville. And in fact, we did. We have a record at 258 miles an hour, which is a setup similar to this, but we put a Pro Charger on it. And right now, this engine, normally aspirated, puts out about 1,050 horsepower. With a Pro Charger, we get it up over 1,900 horsepower.
You have been 258 miles per hour on the salt flats in Big Red?
I have, and we actually had to back that up we have to do it twice. And so, in fact, and that's an average over a mile. So, in fact, we were going faster.
The aero of a 1969 Camaro at 258 miles per hour, how does that feel?
It's absolutely our biggest challenge. The car is quite moving around and difficult to control at those speeds because we're dealing with such a flat front, and the angle of the windshield is still the stock angle, and that makes it very difficult. And in fact, that's our limiting power. At 200, actually the fastest we've ever gone is 266 miles an hour at the Mojave Magnum. Our race pack told us that we're actually going 15 mile an hour faster than that. And that's because the tires were spinning that fast, but the air friction was holding it back at 266. I love opening the car like a regular car, and you open it up, but then of course people look at it and they're like, RJ, wait a minute, you know, it's not much easier to get in. In a setup similar to this, we got to the top of Pikes Peak. And then when they saw the car, they said, Gen 1 Camaro, you're not breaking 13 minutes, and we did it in 11:08. And made it to the top. That was a big one. I definitely wanted to get there.
And what is your motivation? I know this is a you and your dad project. That's how it started. But as you continue to do it, what you just told me, they told you you can't do ... Is that your motivation to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I never thought it would go on this long. I mean, it was pure passion to begin with. But over the years, it was, you know, we were continually told, you know, oh, you guys did this, but you're not going to do that. Or you can't compete there, or you can't get to the top of Pikes Peak. You know, we were told a lot of things. And so it's just been a blast being able to meet those challenges. And just, I think the car has come to represent, like, the American way of life, the old muscle cars, just an era that I think people long for, and I certainly long for. I love the car, I love the era, I love demonstrating what we can do with American power.
Yeah, RJ, thank you for sharing your car with us. It's been surrounded by people all weekend long. Thank you for spending a little time with us.
Joe, thanks so much.
And that is why you come out into the pits here at the NHRA.
This is so cool, Clay. I love seeing these cars up close. It's always, you know, you see them running, and that's one thing, but when you see them up close and really see what they're like, it's really amazing. So tell us about it.
So basically what you're looking at here is the quickest accelerating vehicles on the planet. No matter what's on the side of the car, this is based on a 426 Chrysler Hemi There's no Chrysler parts anymore, but it's all billet, nitro Hemi. 500 cubic inches is the maximum required, but this particular combination, and most of them out here, 498 cubic inches, burning nitromethane, and that is obviously the key to making all the power.
I know, for even running Big Red, you know, we talk about 2,000 horsepower, and that's a big deal, but nothing like these things, my God.
But Big Red can go a distance. This thing's 1,000 foot and it's done.
And it's done, that's right. You rebuild them every run, right?
Yeah, every single run.
Every run.
Rods, pistons, main bearings, clutch, supercharger, cylinder heads, tires, fuel, all done in about 45 minutes.
You guys are laying rubber down like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, it's a game of traction, which most racing is, you know. It's all about applying the power to the ground, and then
I also know there's a lot of technology in the frame, that the frame actually has to flex, right? Because if it was totally straight and solid, you wouldn't get good traction. But it's got to do it just the right amount, right? If it does it too much, you'll lose control, and you know. So where is that flex in here, or is it just built into it? Just the whole thing.
Well, it has very minimal arch built in the car from new, but as the car accelerates, and the front wing starts working, the rear wing starts working. It's literally the front wing's holding it down, the rear wing's pulling, and it just causes it to arch. And the arch is what gives it traction because, again, no shocks, no four link, none of that on these cars. So it's a solid suspension, and so the arch of the car gives it traction, and the only real shocks are the sidewalls of the tires.
Right, right. And it does take quite a squat when these things take off. It's
It
really
does.
incredible to see it.
Non-stop acceleration with these things is incredible. On a good run when you hit the throttle, it's about 4.5 G's the moment you touch the throttle.
Wow.
And a couple hundred foot into the run, it's over 6 G's. So these cars continue to accelerate as they go down the racetrack. It's not all at the start.
So to give you an idea, so if you weigh 150 pounds, it'll feel like you weigh 900 pounds on takeoff.
Exactly.
So you got to be in good shape to be able to run this stuff.
It helps, that's for sure.
Right.
It helps.
Yeah, Clay, you're the best though. Thanks so much for
you.
taking the time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.